you've been annoyed by pesky mosquitoes this year, you are not alone. Joining me now is Laura Young, District Manager with OC Mosquito and Vector Control. Hi, so nice to meet you.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good morning. So, mosquitoes, not a fun topic necessarily, but how did you get into this field?
No, mosquitoes are never fun, especially if they're around your house. I actually used to work at different cities and was working in the water industry and thought if I could make water fun, I could probably educate people on mosquitoes, so worked my way up through the organization.
Ah, I love that. Great. And so you're district manager. What does your job entail? What types of things do you do?
So as district manager, I see the whole agency, oversee the special district that is Orange County Mosquito and Vector Control District, including our operations, our lab, our communications, and all other programs as well.
Okay. What would you say is the most challenging part of this job?
I think the most challenging part of this job is really getting the community engaged and active in vector control and making it a shared responsibility with everybody.
Yeah, and getting that education out there for sure. And what would you say is the good part or the stuff that you love about this job?
I really love the people that we work with. I've never worked with a more passionate group that really want to make a difference in their community and protect public health.
Oh,
yeah,
oh, great. So today we're talking about mosquitoes. And does it just seem like there are more mosquitoes this year, or are there actually more mosquitoes?
I think the answer to that is both. So we have a different kind of mosquito that was established in 2015, which is the Aedes mosquito. A lot of people call them ankle biters, and they're really aggressive day-biting mosquitoes. So it feels like we have more. And then this last year in 2023, just because of the weather and the continued hot weather and rains, we have about 3 times more mosquitoes in our community that we're finding.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And so you said, what year did you say that we started seeing these mosquitoes?
So the Aedes mosquitoes came into Orange County in 2015, and year over year they become more established in our communities, and as they become established, their numbers or their abundance gets higher.
Wow. And so how does a new species like this end up coming to a new area?
New species, just like new diseases, are transmitted through world trade. So cargo ships may have had mosquito eggs, and once that cargo, typically it was nursery items like lucky bamboo or bromeliads, were loaded off and went throughout LA County, Orange County, Southern California. Those mosquitoes became established in those areas.
Okay, so. All right. So the Aedes mosquitoes, they're hard to control. Why is that?
They are very challenging to control. Their evolution has allowed them to lay their eggs in a single row across multiple containers, and they like small containers. So what that means is flower pot saucers, yard drains, really cryptic small sources that we can't get to in every home, which makes them really challenging. And in addition to that, their eggs survive in dry conditions, which our native mosquitoes don't. So you could have a flower pot saucer with eggs on it, and in 2 years, those eggs can become mosquitoes once that flower pot saucer gets filled up with water.
Wow, so the flower pot dries out, it sits there for months and months, a year or more, and then it gets re-wet, and then now they can survive and still hatch. That's crazy. And there are 3 different types of Aedes mosquitoes?
There are. So our most prominent one here in Orange County is Aedes aegypti, and you can tell the difference between them and our native mosquitoes because they're black and white striped. If you want to call a mosquito pretty, those are very pretty mosquitoes. And then we do have some of the other Aedes, albopictus and nodescriptus, but not as common. They're all in the same species, so they all have similar biting habits and similar flying habits.
You said you called these the ankle biters. Why is that?
We do. Well, they were dubbed by media in 2015 the ankle biters because they like to bite on the lower extremities, so typically lower legs, ankles, feet. They're not good flyers, so they don't fly very high. And so people don't hear them, but they do feel their bites once they've bitten and tend to have a more severe reaction to them than our native mosquitoes.
Oh, wow. And then I understand our native mosquitoes maybe more prefer to bite birds, but these ones prefer to bite humans?
Yes, that's correct. So our native mosquitoes are Culex mosquitoes, and they are predominantly bird feeders. So humans sort of incidental hosts. They need a blood meal, and so they'll bite a person. These mosquitoes prefer mammals, so people, pets, and other mammals in our community. And they're more urban, so they're in areas that we are, which is backyards and communities.
What are some of like the reactions that you might have to being bit by a mosquito, either people or pets?
Most people that haven't been bitten by Aedes mosquitoes will have a more severe reaction. So it can be a raised bump, severe itchiness. Some people have a more severe reaction to those bites, so those bumps get hard, and typically people will itch them, and that can lead to secondary infection. And because they bite multiple times, where our native mosquitoes will bite one time and get their blood meal, these mosquitoes, I call them more like appetizer mosquitoes, they'll bite multiple times to get their full blood meal. So you could have 3 or 4 bites from the same mosquito.
Wow. And what should someone do, like if they have been bitten? Is there anything you can do if it's itching or that kind of thing?
I always refer people to their medical professional, but definitely put something on it, any type of cream that either your doctor prescribes or you can get over the counter to reduce those itch. Basically, because if you itch a lot, you may get those secondary infections. I know there's a lot of home remedies, and I always tell people what works for you, and keep doing it until it doesn't work.
Yeah. So, and you teach that mosquito control is a shared community responsibility. So what can residents do?
So it's really important that we have everybody involved, and that's one of our biggest challenges, but would be our biggest achievement if we can get everybody involved in mosquito control. And that's dumping out water, being vigilant as people are going for walks. If they do see standing water, reporting those to homeowners associations, managements, even your neighbor, and being a good neighbor, and then wearing your repellent when you are out so that you can avoid those bites, and making sure you're doing that bite prevention, not just because of the nuisance, but because they can transmit disease as well.
Okay. And well, you mentioned about how the eggs can survive in a pot that's gone dry. Is there something you should do, like if you've had a pot that was sitting outside, to maybe thoroughly clean it first before replanting, or?
Yes, absolutely. So we always recommend you scrub the pots on the inside and outside, and to prevent any of those eggs from staying on that pot. So once you scrub them, they'll detach, and then if it does fill up with water, you won't get mosquitoes.
Okay. And do you actually see the eggs on the pot?
They're really challenging to see. They look like a spot, or like if you took a little pencil and put a mark on there. So you may not see them.
Wow.
If you looked really closely, you could probably spot them, but we just recommend if you have a pot outside and you're gonna reuse it, just go ahead and scrub it, clean it off, and then go ahead and plant what you wanted in there.
Okay, that's great. Is there a time of year when these mosquitoes are more prominent?
So for the Aedes mosquitoes, they do peak around October, but it really depends on the weather. So we're in November and we're still seeing high 80s temperatures, sometimes 90s. So as we continue to have this warm weather, we'll continue to have mosquito activity. When the weather starts dropping lower, especially the overnight lows down to 40s and 50s, then we'll see that activity slow down significantly.
Okay. All right, great. Anything else we should know about preventing mosquitoes?
Just to reiterate that everybody can do their part and help us with mosquito control so that we can reduce the populations in Orange County.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Laura, for being here and educating us. It was definitely good information to have.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so nice to meet you. So don't go anywhere. We have Thrive in the Community coming up right after the break.